Years ago, I became enlightened, and that term is so massively overused, whether it's enlightened or awakened or any of the similar terms that people use. I'm not saying it because I think I'm cool. I'm saying it because the universal creator, the supreme intelligence, or God, not only gave me, I don't know how I'm supposed to say it, that doesn't make other people think that I'm being blasphemous or over exaggerating the circumstances, but the universal creator merged with me. And yes, I still have all my old memories of my personal past life, but they're so insignificant compared to the billions and billions of years that I remember. And the things that I remember about all of this has nothing to do with your personal stuff, has nothing to do with corporations and businesses. I understand about them, but they're not important. They are actually what's keeping us from learning about ourselves. You're spending your whole life chasing somebody else's dream. And if you don't like the sound of that, I'm sorry, but you were born into a world that was already captured by other people and their money. And they've taught you and almost everybody else you've ever met to depend on money like it actually means something. And people will continue to. I'm making this short video today because it is the 27th day of Ramadan. Ramadan is spelled Ramadan. If anybody knows what Ram is, it's one of the names of God. If anybody knows what the sign of Aries is, it's considered the ram. I was born in the sign of Aries, the ram. The day that I had my experience and was enlightened, and I'm not joking when I say this, I've seen so much. If you sat with me in person and talked with me and listened to what I'm saying, you wouldn't be able to convince yourself that I'm making it up. You just wouldn't understand because you didn't have the experience. And because of that, it's hard for people to understand the depth of who I am and who you really are. And I love you anyway. Whether you're a piece of crap to everybody or whether you destroy yourself and your mind doesn't think correctly, there's a reason you're like that. Other people have taught you to and said dumb things like, God gave you the right because Jesus died for your sins. They don't know what they're talking about, obviously. And they think they know, but that's because they're benefiting from it. The more they can convince people to follow their group, the more power they have, and the less power we as a community or as a world have together. The more you separate yourself from the rest of the world by joining with a certain group, the more you actually harm yourself from finding who you are and ascending in this lifetime. Most people, and I hate to say this, but it's the case, most people, 99.9% of the people that are alive right now and who've ever lived will not ascend. And it's not because I want it that way. God showed me how to get there and how to move forward from this earth realm. And when you talk like this to anybody, they go, I don't believe in that woo-woo stuff. But somehow they'll go into a church maybe and listen to these stories of people pulling out ribs and swallowed by fish and every other thing. They'll hear about 30,000 gods of Hinduism, talk about space and quantum theories. They'll even break down Hebrew words and add them all together and say that it has some meaning. But they don't seem to understand that English is the language that puts all of them together symmetrically. Therefore, what I'm saying can be translated into other languages and understood if people care enough to tell the truth. So now what I want to say about today, the 27th day of Ramadan. Whether you understand this or know this or not, Ramadan takes place in the 9th month of the Islamic calendar. And told for centuries, Muhammad was enlightened on the 27th day of the 9th month during Ramadan. In America, this is the sign of Aries. And this season of the ram is when Easter comes around on this side of the globe. When I had my experience and I was enlightened, it took place on September 27th. After I had that experience and God showed me, or the divine creator showed me, and I asked how I could explain this to other people, I was shown that everything will add up and point in the direction of me. And not because I want it to, but because if people need an answer, they need a person with the right answer, not people who are speculating. not people who are doing scientific experiments on animals or things with geoengineering. And we're so human egocentric. It's sad. Most people have lost the connection to their heart in a true way. And I'm responsible to spend the rest of my life trying to bring that back to humanity, not only in my children or my parents or my family, but everyone who is ready, because you are my family. And there's no separation between you and me besides your name, your location, and when you were born. That's it. So I want you to really take into consideration that I've been saying this for many, many years, that things would add up and point to me, not because I want them to, but because that's what God showed me. This isn't the case with everybody else. I can explain their universal patterns too. But when it comes to the main stuff, it points back to me. And no one understands how hard that is on someone who has to act like an average person when there is no such thing. Yet I have to try to somehow blend in so that people can accept my message at a lesser level. Because if I talked about the things that I've really experienced, well-known geniuses would be stumped. And I'm not saying this for fun, but I want you to look at these pictures that I've taken from sources that, of course, I didn't create. I was just born into this world like everybody else, but it was divine timing. Humanity needed it. And here I am. When you are ready, I can help you. But you've got to be willing to put in some real hard work, not just study. This takes calming of your mind and cleansing of your body. And if you aren't willing to do that and you don't care, then you're just causing the problems for yourself and eventually more people in your life. So I'll show you. During Ramadan, the 9th month of the Islamic calendar, on the 27th day, was when the Quran was revealed to Muhammad by God. And it must just be a coincidence that anyone who follows Muhammad is considered Mohammedan, with Dan at the end. And the month in observance itself is called Ramadan, or Ramadan. And I happen to be a guy whose last name starts with A. My name is Dan, and I'm born under the sign of the ram. If that was the only thing to show this, then I would just shrug it off. But for years, I've been telling people about this, opening my heart and being as kind as I can. And because I'm not portraying myself to be some kind of badass or tough guy, people don't listen. We've been so desensitized that people would rather find somebody who screams at them like some kind of coach or drill sergeant than somebody who loves them. No one can force you to do the right thing. You have to find it in your heart and soul to do it. Now, if you think this is a coincidence that Muhammad, one of the people known as an enlightened master, happened to be enlightened on the 9th month on the 27th day, which is identified BG, which is based, generated, and grouped. 20 being in the 10 spot is 2 and generated and grouped after the identity. Understand what these things mean. It's just that I'm saying it in English so that everybody can understand it, because English is the most well-known language and it's spreading around the world. There's a reason for it. Nothing against any other language. But if anyone else doesn't want to learn English, that's fine. Translate it for them. I can explain every book of Scripture, every part of the Bible, but I don't want to spend the rest of my life wasting time. Although other people want to think that the Bible was written by God, it was written by people who channeled through their name resonation what these things meant, and they wrote them down. They didn't know what magical things would happen after that. And I don't know what other word to use besides magic, because it is. It is completely magic. Even people who talk about the Bible and say that anyone who talks about magic is talking about demons and sorcery doesn't seem to realize that even in the stories, Jesus was visited by 3 what? Magi. And Jesus, his mother was Mary, and the second Mary that he was associated with was Mary Magdalene. Do you see that Mary Magdalene not only has D-A-L, it also has D-A and N in its name somewhere? I know this stuff is hard for people to take seriously, but I am not playing. And if people think I'm playing, tell me what I should do with my life now that I actually know God and have no doubts, and I'm here to help you. You want me to just say, screw it, I'll let you struggle with the rest of your life? Try to save up enough money so that you can make other people besides yourself happy. If that's what you want, do it. But I can't waste my time on this planet letting other people ruin their lives and the lives of the people yet to come. Our children need us to start caring about what matters. And I'm sorry to say it this way, but the message I have is more important than everything else going on here. You may have a hard time understanding that because of your own personal problems. If you're in a war-stricken area, if you're in some kind of state of poverty, I understand that. But if you're just somebody struggling to make your bills like everybody else, get over it. The way we fix these problems is we stop people poisoning us, we stop people running our lives, and we stand up for ourselves. It's just that other people have taught us to lose our self-esteem and not have any intention to stand up for ourselves because we don't know how important we are. And I want to tell you, you are important. And I'd give everything I have in order to help this planet. In fact, in living conditions, I have. The only thing left I have to give is my wisdom and my love. And for the rest of my life, that's all I'll do. And when I lose my temper or get angry, to understand the universe like no one else does, yet no one else wants to hear it because they're too busy chasing their dream and on their own journey. Other people taught them to think that way. And as sad as that is, that's the case. I'm not saying it to hurt your feelings. I'm saying it because you need to truly wake up, not just say you have. So please, tell me, how do you think any of this is possible if I'm not telling the truth? Because I am. And I mean that in more than one way.